Hey guys, so in this one I'm going to be making a Dirty Dutch tutorial, since that one has been requested too many times. I didn't really know what it was at first, I'll be honest, so then I listened to a couple of mixes, and now I do. So there you go. I have these samples here from the VC3 and VC1 sample packs. Um, but yeah, so this is just the punch, and then I have like a sub to go along with it. This was originally a kick, but I just removed the actual punch from it because I was only interested in the low end sound that I want to add to the original punch. And I have another sub kick thing from the VC1 pack. So it's just to add a bit more bass for the drop or whatever, because I don't find that they use very much actual like synthesized basses. It was more like all in the kicks, if you know what I mean. And toms, so you could use toms as well. I also have a snare, and that's for the transitions. A lead that's made in through XOSC, so comes with FL Studio. I'm sure you guys are all familiar. Nothing has been done to it yet. We're gonna make something out of that. And a pad made on Silent One. This was really easy to make. Don't even worry about this. Like honestly, I just kind of whipped that out in a second because I just want to show you like some of the additives you could include in the tracks. So it's just kind of for variation, not really that necessary. Anyway, so moving right along, what you want to do, right, for the percussion aspect of it, I guess you could start off with a bit of a house rhythm, right? So you could do something like, or but I generally enjoyed the kind of like the pounding breakbeat type thing. So it's like, and I mean you can mess around with these kind of rhythms. It's really up to you, as long as it's kind of on beat and setting the groove. So you come up with your own little rhythm there. And then we want to layer a kind of lead on top of that. Now these synths don't really have to be that complicated. If you're wondering how to open 3xOSC, by the way, go into channel, and then oh, it's the top one right here. Add one, 3xOSC, and yeah, there you go. So now these were really easy to make. You just kind of have to have this addictive almost sound. And I mean, you can just mess around with these. The first oscillator is, on the highest octave, and then second oscillator is like in the midsection, and third one is low end. But so what I had was this kind of square tooth type thing going on here. Oscillator 1, sawtooth on oscillator 2, and a square tooth on oscillator 3. You don't really have to, do this exactly like how I'm doing it, by the way. It's good to not just copy me and come up with your own sounds by experimenting with some of the settings here, but this is what I went with. And I also changed the volume knob on the second oscillator. I just turned it up a bit, and honestly that's all I really needed to be satisfied, because the key here is the pitch bend. You gotta pitch this lead, or use portamento, but the main idea is to have the pitch bending throughout the drop. So, and I mean, you guys will see what I mean later too. But anyway, so having this lead already ready, oh right, I have to show you one more thing. With the kick, what I've done is I added a bit of reverb to it to add a bit of that roomy setting to it. So I'm not gonna like make it from scratch. I already have like this setting that I made earlier, but I just made the room look really small, and I took the low cut, right, and I brought that up beyond the 12 o'clock mark, right, so it's around like 2 or 3, or wait, no, 2. I don't know, I can't read a clock, I guess. But anyway, that's basically all you need to do, because if you have the low cut all the way at the bottom, just listen to the kick. Oh, wait, maybe I have to unmute it first. It sounds way too, like, I don't know, low end roomy. So that's why I would just bring it up. And I mean, I added a bit of decay or whatever time. I put it to 0.8 seconds and etc. But you know, the real settings you want to have is having the room size small and etc. Anyway, I'm rambling on way too long about this. Just add a bit of reverb if you want. Not even necessary. So right, let's start by making this melody now. I don't even know why I'm calling it a melody, but it's just like this drop sequence, right? So let's start on just C5, because you can't go wrong with C5. And to make that pitch bend happen, by the way, we're going to be using this slide button, the slide tool. When you click on it, you get a little note with the triangle on it, and that will affect the portamento, or the pitch of the lead. You'll see what I mean later if you haven't used it yet. It's kind of hard to get a grasp on it at first, but it's pretty easy once you get used to it. So we got to come up with a bit of a rhythm to go on top of this rhythm. This is when your own creativity comes in. But generally, I got this pretty quickly, so it shouldn't be too hard. Now you can make it have it so that it goes along with the percussion like perfectly. I mean, I don't generally want to do that, but I mean it does sound like it's going with the drums pretty well here. Alright, so now that we got the basic rhythm down, we got to add that pitch bend, or else it's just, it's going to sound pretty bad. So what you want to do is have this slide button pressed in, and then choose a note which you want it to pitch down to or pitch up to. So right now we're on C, and I want it to pitch down an entire octave. So we're going to go down to C4. So if I put that right here at the exact same length as the original note, it's going to take that amount of time to reach the lower octave. But if I make it like half time like this, it's going to take this much time for it to drop all the way down, and then it's going to have 2 steps at C4. Or if I make it even shorter, you guys get the idea. Right, so that's pretty basic. We can also pitch up. So for instance, since we're probably going to be in the C minor scale, since we just want to be in minor, not major, some of the notes we could consider using would be D, E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, and then we're back up at C, and then that keeps repeating forever. I generally like using the E flat or D sharp, whatever you like to call it. So if I did that, Anyway, so again, you get the idea. We don't want to keep on repeating this or else it'll get really annoying. So we kind of want to keep on changing the the way it pitches and, you know, maybe some of the note durations or position, whatever. But generally just change the melody. Don't just repeat the same like 2 bars over and over again. It generally sounds pretty bad when you do that, or it just gets really annoying. So it's good to, yeah. So basically for the last bar here, I want to make a bit of a change, and then on the 8th bar, I want to make another change, and that will be the transition. So for the first halfway mark, which is the 4th bar, we're not really going to do anything too like dramatic. We're just going to add more notes right here. And if I just leave that like this, as you can see, I don't know, it just doesn't sound right because there's no space in between each note. So what we're going to do is outline that, hit the magnet, go into quarter step, and I mean you could do whatever step you want, but just generally shorten it so that there's a bit of space in between each note so that it sounds a little bit more staccato-like. So there you go. Now it's, you know, now it sounds pretty good. I mean, it sounds like an actual track now, just because it's like a full groove. You know what I mean? You know what to expect, and I hope you guys understand with, you know, what I'm saying here with the changes being done. But yeah, so that's the halfway mark, the 4th bar. Now the 8th bar is where the actual transition happens. So basically, we're gonna have the snare come in right there, and that will kind of initiate the actual transition itself. You don't want to just change one thing and expect everyone to know that, you know, there's a transition happening. You kind of want to make it pretty obvious. So so to make it transition, you got to change the groove. So right now we got this. That's our groove. Well, we want to change that a bit. So, I mean, you can mess around with this. I'm not going to, you know, mess around with it too much. You guys will get the idea. But what if I did this? I mean, it's almost like it's preparing for something in a way. And I mean, some people just use 2 notes like this. So it'd just be like silence or like have a bit of a kick. Wow, I'm having a horrible time explaining this. But if I put that here, for instance, that's the snare and that's the kick. I could just stop the kick right here. You know what I mean? Like that. And that could just be the transition. I think that's a little short though. So I'm going to add whatever I had there at the beginning. And that's the transition. It's pretty simple, but you know, that's all it takes really. So let me just split this so that we only have the kick drum and all that other stuff separated, and then we have the lead on its own channel, so now they're all in their own patterns. So now I'm just going to shorten this so that the snare can come in. Let me rename that. And yeah, so there you go. And that's your transition. So if you listen to all of it together, now that's good enough, but I'm gonna need to change this in order for it to be complete in my eyes. So what I'm gonna do is, actually I have no idea, but we could just kind of mess around with some of the lengths of the notes so that it goes better with the snare. So that sounds a lot like the snare, doesn't it? I mean, again, these little changes is really all it takes. And now we got this full 8-bar loop, and that could be the entire drop, really, or at least a section of the drop, or whatever you want to call it. Now, the fact that we didn't add anything in the second part is really anticlimactic, because the fact that you have a transition and you don't, you know, layer something else on top after that transition, it's just annoying. It makes you feel really uncomfortable, at least for me, because when there's a transition, you would expect, you know, something else to happen or something more to happen. So that's why I'm going to bring in a very important aspect to this kind of music, which is the white noise. Again, just open up through XOSC and just name that noise. And you want to hit all these zigzag oscillators. I've shown this a lot in my other tutorials, but I'm just going to turn down the 2 volume knobs here. This one doesn't have one, oscillator 1. Oh my goodness. Hello?
Hi there, is this the La Valley residence?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Adrian. I'm calling from BBM Canada, the radio ratings company. We're a not-for-profit organization that does radio ratings research across Canada for radio stations. And we're currently conducting the ratings in the Percussion area. Now, please be assured that we're not trying to sell you anything. Are you a resident of this home and over the age of 14? Sorry, 18?
No.
Okay. May I please speak to a resident of home who is at least 18 years of age?
I'm actually alone right now.
Okay. I guess I'll call back another time then.
Okay.
Thank you.
See, the thing is, the fact that I told him I'm alone, it was probably a bad idea. Because they teach you that, kids, not to say that you're alone, because they might come in your house and know that you're alone. But thankfully, my mom didn't announce that she was going out of town to anyone that I know of. And he seemed like a pretty nice guy. He wouldn't hurt anyone. So there you go. My door's locked anyway, so... back to the music. Where were we? Right, so white noise. That's all you really need is right there, that disgusting noise. You got to turn it down a bit, though, because that's just excruciating. Link that to the mixer. I already have it here. You can see, because I tried to make this tutorial yesterday, but it did not work. I'm going to spell it with a Z, because I think that's more appropriate. Anyway. Right, so noise. I'm going to open up a parametric EQ2, because we need to high pass all the low end. So bring that down, and then just, I don't know, bring it up to a point where it just sounds like white noise, really. And I mean, that's all it really takes right there. You want to open up something like gross beat, something that will just allow it to sidechain. Now, if you go in the sidechain preset and right-click on all of these little circles in the middle, that'll just cancel any curve that's happening. I don't generally want the curve. I think it sounds nice just like this. But all that's really happening here is on every beat, the noise is just starting from a low point volume-wise, and it's just coming up. So it's turning down, coming up, turning down, coming up, instantly turning down, and coming back up. And that just kind of goes with the kick, really. So if you listen to that, this might be kind of annoying, but just take a listen. Not to that, to this. Yeah, that's what we're creating here with the sidechain. You could use the limiter. This is just quicker. Anyway, so there's your gross beat, and yeah, I'm pretty sure that's all you really need. You could also add panning, a pan automation clip, so that it switches from your left ear to your right ear back and forth like that. I'm not going to do it because we're kind of running on some time here. So all all you're going to do is you're going to go on that noise channel, which I'm already on. In the piano roll, just make kind of like a long, I don't know, four bar note on any note you want, really. Doesn't really matter. And then just put it down here for 4 bars. And you could also make it decay. That's not really necessary either. But it's surprising how much that noise can just add to the track. So here we go. And that's pretty much it. Now, before I end this tutorial, I'd like to show you how to make the really thin sound that you hear a lot as well, because I did want to show that for those of you who might have not been able to make it. It's sorry, I'm sick. My throat is so dry. But basically, you just turn down, you put it all on the sawtooth shape or waveform on as many oscillators as you can. On 3x OSC, and then you just turn them all down except for one, because you're only going to need one oscillator. So just sounds like that. You could also have a bit of square tooth right on the low end, something like that. I don't know if that really adds to it, but it's really just this little sawtooth. It's supposed to be very thin, and I think that's what people want. And if you want to add something else, I made a pad here, like I said, and you could have it doing the house rhythm. I'm just kind of rushing through this because I want to end this tutorial. So 4x4 kick here, and the house kind of rhythm is starting the bass, or in this case the pad, right here on the 4th step. Right, and then you have it on the offbeat, so 4-step offbeat or whatever. So it just sounds like this pretty much. And I mean, you could keep it that way, or you can make it more complicated during transitions. You know, it's whatever you want. So yeah, you could put that on top of this nonsense. And it's on the wrong key for some reason, so yeah, let's put that back up to C. You kind of want it to always be on C for the most part. There's not really that much harmonics as far as what I've heard anyway. But yeah, so there you go. If you guys want me to try to make more of this genre, I might be able to. Probably not, because I don't know. I found that all I really listened to was this nonsense here in the mixes. So I don't really know what any of the intros sound like. But if I feel that I'm able to make it and make a tutorial out of it, then I probably will. So there you go. Hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial and that little conversation I had with whoever the fuck from, I don't know. Was it Ontario, he said? He probably did not even say Ontario. I mean, that's pretty far away. Like, I don't live in Ontario. Yeah, private caller. I mean, that's pretty sketchy. I probably shouldn't have told him that, that I was alone. But, um, don't do that. Kids. Yeah, because kids watch my FL Studio tutorials because they want to be producers one day. Who knows? Actually, I think I do have some younger audiences, but not really. But maybe one day, a 13-year-old might come across this video uh, and kind of witness this situation that I've been, that I put myself in, and then little Dave will know not to do it, David. But yeah, so there you go. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you for the next yeah. Bye.